Happy New Year, everybody. For Dallas Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com, I am Fort Worth Star Telegram sports columnist Mac Engel. I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Clarence Chill Hill. I'm hoping you had a great Christmas, Clarence, because Dallas Cowboys certainly did. The day after Christmas, the Dallas Cowboys crushed Washington 56-14. Clarence, you and I both knew they were going to win, but did you have any idea that they had a 56-point outburst in them? I certainly did not.
No one saw that coming, and certainly even the most optimistic, sunshine pumping Cowboys fan were just happy that they scored 28 points and all offensive scores. After the way the offense has been playing before, but certainly there are a number of variables. Washington was reeling. They had played on 5 days rest,
right?
Because of COVID, it postponed their previous week's game. They had some guys out, but the Cowboys
and they're not very good.
Guys out. Washington had guys out in the first game. The Giants had guys out. The Cowboys offense didn't do what they did on Sunday, and so you have to give the Cowboys some credit for correcting some things. Certainly, the Cowboys just are a different team at home.
They are.
Even when they lost to the Raiders, they still scored 33 points. You go back to the Atlanta game. These struggles they've had of late outside of the Denver game have largely been away from AT&T Stadium. But when they've been at home, they've been on a roll, and they certainly were on a roll again against Washington, on a roll like none other. I mean, the third most points scored ever by a Cowboys team, certainly the largest margin of victory in the series. Between the Cowboys and Washington, the most points ever scored in the first half by a Cowboys team. Certainly, Dak Prescott became the first player in NFL history, to throw a touchdown to a running back, a tight end, a receiver, and an offensive lineman.
Thank you. Took that away from me, and that's a good segue to our first subject, which is Dak Prescott actually back? Or was this just a case of him taking advantage of a depleted and, quite frankly, an inferior opponent? I think it's both.
I think the thing that makes me believe it's more about Dak Prescott being back certainly was the accuracy of his throws, but the way he was making plays with his feet that we haven't seen in a long time. Last time we saw Dak Prescott run, I think it was one of the other games he was trying to run. He just fell down. He tripped over his own feet. Whether he admits it or not, that calf injury affected his play. He was not playing well.
No doubt.
But that calf injury affected his play. He looks 100% healthy. He looked quicker. I told him after the game, you look quicker. You look faster out there, than you have had in previous weeks, and he did. His ability to make plays with his feet, but be more decisive in making plays with his feet. Certainly being able to throw the ball and run with some pinpoint accuracy. Dak looks to be like the Dak we saw early in the season. That's good news for the Cowboys. He told me after the game, he said, "This is the best I've felt in a long time. The best I've felt in a long time."
Does that lend some credence to the theory, the one that I really believed, that he was hurt? And I don't know what it necessarily was, but that physically he was not right. And for the fact that he said that, and the fact that he played as well as he did, 28 of 39, 330 yards and 4 touchdowns, does that give you some belief that, yes, physically he has not been right for a month and a half?
Well, I mean, the bottom line, he doesn't look right. Your eyes don't lie. As I always say, who you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? I'm going to believe my eyes. I don't care what you tell me, and you can tell me I'm fine, but you don't look fine. You're not playing fine. It's like Zeke. He didn't look fine, even though Cowboys said he wasn't hurt and he was fine. Right. He didn't look fine. Zeke even looked better, looked finer, on Sunday. I mean, he admitted that he felt better, and he did run with a little more energy, a little more juice than he has. The Cowboy, and that's the good news about this Cowboys team. And it's not just who they played, it's how they played and how they looked. And that's what it's always been how they look, because they won the last 3 games. They just haven't looked good. Okay. Right. Before that, it's always been how they look. And the good news for the Cowboys is that they're looking good. They're being healthy. They're getting their guys back. You see all these other teams who are losing guys for the season. Certainly they had some guys who are out for COVID-19. But as far as a health situation, this Cowboys team, 1 year after not having Dak, not having their offensive line, losing everybody, going 6-10, they're ending the season healthy, with all their guys coming back and ready to go, ready to play. Even Tyron Smith should play this weekend against Arizona. So this won't be a injury-riddled depleted Cowboys team as they get ready for the playoffs. That's the good news.
Yeah, other good news is that, quite frankly, they might have two of the best defensive players in the NFL going right now. And I like the way you said this little thunder and lightning with Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. Now, on Sunday night against Washington, I don't know why any team right now was throwing at Trayvon Diggs, but they tried it. And Trayvon Diggs came up with his 11th interception of the season, easily the tops in the NFL. It's, I think, more than 12 teams have combined. Micah Parsons came up with another sack. Trayvon Diggs has 21 passes defended this season as well. That's first in the NFL. I know when we talked about potential NFL MVP candidates earlier this season, we were talking Micah Parsons doing the Lawrence Taylor two-step, which is NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year, as well as NFL's NFL Defensive MVP. Lawrence Taylor did that in 1981. Only guy who's ever done it. He's not. You and I both know you got to get crazy numbers to do this. I don't know if Micah Parsons is going to do that. Got 2 games left, but right now, who do you think would be a more legit MVP candidate, Micah Parsons or Trayvon Diggs? 11 interceptions is nothing to see.
I mean, you can't argue with Trayvon Diggs' numbers. 11 interceptions jumps off the table at you. No one's done that since Everson Walls did in 1981. He just tied the Cowboys record for interceptions in the season, all of that stuff. But I'm about rushing cover. If you go back and look at the tape of that interception that Trayvon got in the opening series, guess who was pressuring the quarterback? It was Micah Parsons.
Was it Micah Parsons?
It was Micah Parsons. That's who was in the quarterback's face. It was Micah Parsons. And what he's done as a rookie to impact the pass rush and exude this attitude of, the line, we're not, I want to make all the plays.
Right.
I'm going to make plays. It's not just the numbers. It's what he gives his team and that attitude he gives his team. And the numbers are amazing. He's, got 13 sacks. He just did another sack and a half to break the NFL rookie record. If you put his numbers from sacks and pressures, he's in a category by himself. No one in the league has had, 13 sacks and I think as many tackles he's had in a long time, not rookie, not veteran, not nobody. And so, his numbers are equally impressive. And you add the fact that he not only has played linebacker, but he's played defensive end and all the other stuff that he does for this defense and open things up for everybody. Just, again, he's contagious. I mean, you look at Marcus Lawrence, and we're talking about these two and they're Thunder and Lightning. They've been great. But DeMarcus Lawrence has been great since he came.
He's been outstanding.
And he's been great. Like, I want to keep up with the young guys. Well, and not only that, it's contagious.
Clarence, I don't think you can stress enough how valuable the fact that he didn't play first 6-7 weeks of the season, and what an asset. I know no one wants to say that, but the fact is this guy's basically coming in and only having to play half a season, and he's one of the best. He was already one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, and now he's in late December, and he didn't have to play in the first couple months of the season. Now it wasn't his fault, but he's healthy, and God, he looks good right now.
Right, and again, that goes back to what Micah means. Because if I'd have told you before the season, that DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be out, we would have thought his defense was back in the dumps.
Absolutely,
compared to last year. Because he is the heart and soul of this defense, he certainly gives them attitude. But Micah has taken over that role, and Micah held down the fort until DeMarcus Lawrence, till Randy Gregory, till Neville Gallimore all came back. It was Micah who was there, game in and game out, holding down his fort, making plays for this defense. That's why he's the most important player.
Yeah, and I got to, the more you say that, I know Aaron Donald's got some great numbers, and there's other guys around the league who've got great, Myles Garrett. Although I can't imagine Cleveland's going to get an NFL MVP candidate out of that crew. But if you gave it to Micah Parsons, usually there's like 4 or 5 guys. I always think in these things you can make a real solid case and say, yeah, that's a good vote. But in light of how bad this defense was last season and how good this guy's been and what he has opened up for everybody else, I would give him the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award.
And sadly, if he doesn't get it, it's probably going to be because Trayvon Diggs. They're going to siphon each other's votes.
Do you really think so?
I mean, that's how it always happens. You got 2 teammates who are in the running. Somebody's going to say, I want to give it to cornerback, and that's going to take a vote away from Micah Parsons. So the other candidate is going to get it. So neither one of them will get it because they're going to take each other's votes.
And that's too bad because you mentioned it there at the top. I wonder how many of those interceptions happened because of Trayvon or because of Michael Parsons' pressure. Anyway, let's go on to the last subject here on Dallas Cowboys Overtime. Okay, about a month ago, we were really excited about this game coming up on Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. And this is your word. I hate this word. A statement game against the Arizona Cardinals. I hate the statement thing for a lot of different reasons. I don't want to get into it. To me, this is big for one particular reason. They're in the race for the number 1 seed. Arizona was in the race, and they were in the driver's seat 5 or 6 weeks ago, but they have lost 3 in a row. Since they started the season 7-0, they've gone 3-5 since. They looked really bad on Christmas night in a loss against an injury-depleted Colts team in Arizona. It looked like Kyler Murray 6-7 weeks ago was the NFL MVP. He's not. I think Dallas is going to win. Certainly Vegas thinks Dallas is going to win. But I'm really curious about this, not so much about beating Arizona, but the fact that they've got a legit shot now at potentially, if Green Bay stumbles, getting that top seed in the league and home field advantage and that bye week, which only one team gets.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I say statement only because there's this chirping in my ear about they beat a depleted Washington, they beat the Saints, they beat the Giants. Well, this is a legitimate playoff team. Okay, regardless if they're in a 3-game losing streak, they played so well that they're already clinched. They're in the playoffs. Okay, they got a guy who was the MVP candidate. This is also the team that murdered the Cowboys last year at AT&T Stadium. The game after the day after Dak got hurt, they murdered them. Okay, at AT&T Stadium. They showed you that this season is off the rails. When Dak got hurt the next game, it was over. So, you come in and you got Arizona. Certainly they've lost 3 straight. Dallas had their doldrums, but, they came back. So I'm certainly Arizona's trying to do the same thing. Is we're going to, write our season and try to get right before the start of the playoffs. There's a good chance for them to do that. So certainly they're going to be pointing to make a statement themselves. And the Cowboys, there's so many talk about, Dak beats all the bad teams. He got this is a team with a winning record. Beat this team with a winning record. And certainly, as you said earlier, it is important for the playoff seeding. The Cowboys are currently the 2nd seed. They need to keep winning. I don't know if Green Bay's going to stumble because I think they got Minnesota and Detroit left. Minnesota in Minnesota, you never know.
It's not good. The Lions are on fire. Hey, Lions are turning it up.
They just lost to Atlanta.
Yeah, well, they beat Arizona.
But so they just need to keep winning because even if they don't get number 1, getting number 2 means something because it impacts who you play in the first round. It also allows you that if somehow Tampa or someone else goes to Green Bay and beats Green Bay, you get home field advantage for the championship game if you get that far.
Yeah, and
you still want to get the best seed as possible. I'm telling you, the Cowboys are just a different team at home. They need to be at home.
They do, and they need to do everything they can to avoid going to Green Bay in January, although all signs point to a Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers reunion.
Hey, you know what? If they get to Green Bay and it's in a championship game, take your chances. It's
Absolutely.
One and done. Take your chances.
Yep.
You just don't want to have to go there early. Just make sure it's in the championship game.
Well, on Sunday at AT&T Stadium, it's kickoff is 3:30. Arizona comes in with a 10-5 record. Dallas 11-4 and NFC East champions. I forgot to mention that. Dallas is a 5.5-point favorite. I am assuming, Clarence, that you and I don't think we've picked against the Cowboys since earlier in the season, maybe against the Tampa game or the Chargers game or something like that. They're 5.5-point favorite. Arizona, like I talked about earlier, does not look good these last 5 or 6 games. They have a couple guys hurt. Rondale Moore, the wide receiver, he's a little banged up. He's questionable. So starting running back James Conner, he might play. Defensive end Jordan Phillips is questionable. Like you said, for the Cowboys, Tyron Smith might play. He's been out with an injured ankle. But the bigger story to me with Arizona is what is going on with Kyler Murray. Through week 7, NFL MVP. Last 5 games, they're 1-4. He has 4 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. I know you haven't had a chance to watch them very much. I watched all that game on Christmas night. Clarence, something is wrong. I mean, they've got injury issues, but
they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. That matters.
That one matters for sure. Hopkins. And AJ Green isn't the same.
He's still fast.
Who's that?
Still quick. The line is going to have to still run him down, okay? He had a bad game throwing the ball, but he had like a 50-yard run or whatever else. He can still get around the corner. They're going to have to he's going to challenge their pass rushers and the rush and the Cowboys' ability to stick with their receivers and all that other stuff because he's still dangerous. They have not winning. He's still short. They're going to bet down some passes. Maybe get another DeMarcus Lawrence tip pass, interception, or Randy Gregory tip. I mean, which was better? Was the Randy Gregory tip or the DeMarcus Lawrence tip? Randy Gregory tip against Washington, or and intercepted himself, or the DeMarcus Lawrence tip. Which one was
probably
better?
The DeMarcus Lawrence one? But I mean, you're splitting the finest of hairs on that one. Those interceptions were so athletic. That Randy Gregory play was just.
It was
both of them.
For me, it was the run down the sideline, the high knees into the end zone. DeMarcus Lawrence letting I can still run.
Well, he looked great on that one. You put him back there in a running back. You're going to do Connor McGovern or Connor Williams or any of those other guys. Put him at tight end.
Maybe he'll block somebody.
That's right, because the other guys can't. Okay, give me a prediction time. Cowboys 5.5-point favorite. I think they're going to win.
Has Kyler Murray ever lost at AT&T Stadium? Ever?
No, he hasn't. No. Unless it was a preseason game.
It's time for him to lose. It's time for him to lose.
It is time for him to lose. Okay, I think you're right. Do we have any good fantasy football? I mean, we're both picking the Cowboys. I'm not picking them to cover 5.5. The over/under is 51.5. I wouldn't touch that. But in terms of, you said it at the top, Clarence, 5 different positions caught touchdown passes from Dak Prescott. 4, pardon me, including the offensive tackle, who is not eligible for fantasy football points. That's too bad. Terrence Steele is not listed as a receiver, although he should be. We know that Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott, because of Zeke's knee and Tony's foot, they're going to split time. So they're probably not good fantasy football picks because they're just not get as many opportunities. Dak looked amazing on Sunday night, and certainly Kyler Murray didn't. Before I would say, boy, go with Kyler Murray. But right now, give me Dak Prescott. You go with Dak Prescott. I'm going to go with, the Cowboys got 19 different guys who scored touchdowns this season. That's crazy. That's different guys who scored touchdowns this season. 19. Team record. Not just offensive guys. Defense. I think it's like 7 or 8 guys on defense. It's time for Micah Parsons to score. Oh, that's a good one. Sack, fumble, run it in. Micah Parsons, the line is always hungry. Okay, last 2 questions real quick. These are kind of fun. I wanted to ask you this when we were talking about Micah Parsons. Micah has lined up, I think, at every different position on defense this season, including corner coverage, and even he's rushed in the middle, he's rushed on the edge, blah, blah, blah. Best athlete in Dallas Cowboys history in order were probably Bob Hayes, Deion Sanders, and I'm putting Micah Parsons in that category. Is that crazy? Hollywood Henderson is on that. Hollywood's good. No, you're right. I knew I was going to miss some. Michael Parsons is right there. Larry Allen. I just don't know. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, the guy was arguing. I talked last. He was arguing in the middle of the game about outrunning the receivers, and I think he has a good. He said he's faster than CeeDee Lamb. If you put those guys in a 40-yard foot race, who wins? CeeDee Lamb's winning. He's beating a linebacker. I bet if you look at their 40 times from the combine, Michael Parsons wins. I'll have to do that. That's a good one. Okay, we're talking about Kyler Murray, and I don't know if you saw this. When Kyler was at high school, before he went to A&M and then transferred to Oklahoma, he did something that no football player has ever done in the state of Texas. He never lost. It's just an extraordinary high school career. And then the debate came up, who's the greatest high school football player in Texas history? And this goes back to Earl Campbell, Sammy Baugh, tons of guys. And ESPN put out a list of quarterbacks. And whoever did the list, Clarence, must have been like 5 years old, because it was like 1980 on. But there's a lot of great players, Andrew Luck. There's just tons. Vince Young. Is Kyler Murray the best quarterback or high school quarterback to come out of this state, or even high school player to come out of this state? High school. I would say that he's the most decorated. Let's put it that way. That's different. Is he better than Vince? Because Vince was pretty amazing. Vince never won a state title, but he also never won a state title in Houston. He never won a state title. No, he lost. He lost. But he came from an inner city school. Yeah, it's two. Hey, Sock won. Sock is not 6A, but yes, they did win. But he came from inner city school. Allen was
It's
No,
just a
it's
whole
not.
nother level
It
of
is.
what it is. But I mean, you can't argue with Kyler's stats. 3 straight state titles, never lost a game. Then you add in the fact he won the Heisman Trophy on top of it. All it is a Super Bowl win. There's no Texas football player who has done more than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's an impossible debate. And
it is because you got Earl Campbell and Cedric Benson was great, and you look at his numbers and the state titles and the number. I mean, there were a lot. Adrian Peterson. There are a lot of great Texas high school football players, but Kyler was on a team had put a number of guys in the pros as well. He was on a complete team. It wasn't just him. Like some of those guys were one man shows, and so it's hard because you don't get the state titles when you're a one man show, no matter how great you are. I did just look it up. 40-yard dash. Michael Parsons 4.39, CeeDee Lamb 4.5.
Wow, we may have to bring that one up. And I might ask Mike McCarthy, why isn't Micah Parsons split left? Or put him at tight end, he'd probably be just as good.
We talked to Kellen Moore the other day, and he said that everybody on defense wants to play offense. Trayvon Diggs is begging for offense. Michael Parsons is begging to carry the ball. Now DeMarcus Lawrence wants to play tight end. He gets a run. All these guys on defense are scoring touchdowns. They all want some of the ball on offense.
You could probably put them in there right now and they score touchdowns, considering everybody else has. I fully expect you to score on Sunday against Arizona, too. Anyways, this has been a lot of fun. This ran a little bit long. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you and your family are feeling well. Clarence's family has a little bit of the COVID going around. It's not fun, and I hope you're feeling better.
Not me, though. Not me.
Not you. COVID-free. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I misunderstood that. Anyways, for Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com, it's Clarence Hill Jr., right? Are you Junior?
Junior? Yes, sir.
Junior, I always forget that. And best to your dad, by the way. I'm Mac Engel for all of your Dallas Cowboys.
It's only in my byline, but okay. I know you forget.
I always forget. Is it Junior? I can't remember. Sorry. You just started following me on Twitter last year, so we cancel each other out. You blocked me. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a wonderful New Year. For all of your Dallas Cowboys coverage needs, check us out on StarTelegram.com. He's Clarence Hill Jr. I'm Mac Engel. See you next week.